Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us from near and far and for logging in for our MBAN Alumni Series webinar. I'm Natalie Manager of Recruitment and Admissions at Sauder, and I actually oversee the MBAN program, so it's a pleasure to be connecting with you all today. I'm going to be your host for today, and with me, I'm accompanied with three of our MBAN program's All-Star alumni who will be sharing with you their experience and their journey throughout the MBAN. In about 10-15 minutes or so, we will commence the alumni portion where the panelists will be asked a series of questions by me, and then I'll open things over to the audience for some Q&A for them as well. So please feel free to type in your questions in the chat panel. I'll do some quick introductions of them, but I'll let them do the job of introducing themselves properly in just a few moments, so please stay tuned. But with us today, I do have Divya Gupta. She's a data scientist at KPMG Lighthouse Canada. We also have with us Nabir. He's a senior consultant and process analyst at Cambria Solutions Incorporated. We also have with us Jeremy Moxie. He's a business analyst at Provincial Health Services Authority. So really looking forward to getting to know them better today and having you guys get some insight into their experiences through the MBAN and also where they're at today. This webinar will be recorded today, so if you want to hear it another time or share it with some friends of yours that you think would be interested in hearing what we have to share here today, please feel free to do that. Just stay tuned in your inbox for those attachments there. So let's dive right into the MBAN. Year over year, the popularity of the MBAN continues to grow. And job boards will actually tell you that there's no shortage of job opportunities in this field. Given that, it's no surprise that the MBAN is in the top 3 most popular master's programs that is currently being pursued. This is really a one-of-a-kind program for anyone who wants to work at the cutting edge and work with companies to help interpret data and use that data to make effective business-related decisions. This program is actually offered in the heart of Vancouver at our Point Grey campus. And Vancouver, besides being one of the most livable cities in the world, it's also currently known as the fastest growing economy in the country in a variety of different industries. So whether you're into entrepreneurship, into tech, natural resources, oil and gas, healthcare, manufacturing, and so forth, it's really home to a variety of different consulting firms, Fortune 500 companies, and startups. And in just 12 months, you actually get to earn a master's degree from a top-tier, internationally recognized university. So why the MBAN at UBC? When students ask me this question, a few key themes come to mind. Well, first, there's the engaging courses in the curriculum, but there's also the consulting internship, which gives you that real-life practical experience in applying what you're learning throughout the program. There's also an experiential learning experience and personalized career development that you'll get to learn more about in just a few moments, but these components are all interwoven throughout the program. Here's a snapshot of the program journey. You'll see here that there's a mix of more technical courses, but there's also some more business-focused courses. And so just looking at some of the key titles, you'll see, data-driven marketing, forecasting and prediction, advanced predictive analytics, pricing analytics. So throughout the entire curriculum, you'll really see how data science and business are interwoven throughout each other. This blue line here also demonstrates that career development and programming runs throughout the entire year, which means that you're consistently receiving career readiness training, which will get you set up and ready for the job market. So whether that looks like for you, whether it looks like building your own personal brand, getting better at interviewing, getting interview prep, communicating with different stakeholders, giving better presentations, The curriculum is designed to help you launch successfully into your career. The last 3 months of the program also involve an analytics consulting internship. So you'll see really throughout the whole program is solely based on experiential learning. And so although you're taking the foundational courses, you're also getting real life experience through your internship, working in real life situations and real life scenarios. And UBC's actually has its very own Center of Operational Excellence, which operates like a consulting firm and is run by some of the top researchers in all of North America. There's also a hackathon, which usually takes place in the spring, and it's a really fun varsity challenge, which again allows you to engage in a fun competition with your peers. And you can really get into the groups and apply what you've learned throughout the course in a fun real life context. The last 3 or 4 months of the program, you'll be participating in a mandatory paid analytics consulting internship, where again, you'll get to apply what you've learned from the program in a real life business context, working on real life business problems and helping organizations make data-driven decisions as a business analyst. Here are some of our analytics consulting internship partnerships. So for example, you could be working with Canada Post to better manage their impending challenges during peak seasons like Christmas and the holidays, for example. Or maybe you might be helping support Boeing, which is a major aviation business, in maximizing fuel efficiencies at different flight phases, such as takeoff, landing. The level of support that you also get as a student is unprecedented. Starting day one, you get your own personal executive coach, which will be assigned to you, and they're really there to help make sure that you're meeting all your objectives. We offer personalized career coaching, and I can't emphasize how important this is and has been for our students. Your dedicated career manager is trained to make sure that you are career ready and ready to network, apply for roles, and interview. You'll go through mock interview workshops, personal brand building classes, you'll gain access to some key professional development resources, and you'll be put through training. And you'll even get the opportunity to touch base with alumni just like you are today, and really take part of some great mentorship opportunities. Through our partnership with Roche Martin, you'll also learn the importance of EQ and when it comes to getting career ready and set up for success in the real world. We've seen a strong and direct correlation between our high-performing alumni and their EQ levels, and the program really fosters this to help you build better relationships, help manage difficult emotions, and increase creativity, lead projects and teams better, and overall improve your success and efficiencies in what you're doing. So let's have a look at some of your fellow classmates. As you can see here on screen, they come from a variety of different industries and backgrounds. And although work experience is not a requirement, the average work experience is about 4 years. So again, you're studying with and alongside people coming from a variety of different backgrounds in different parts of the world, enriching the whole learning and collegiate experience for everyone. So in addition to coming from a variety of different backgrounds, you'll see that our class has a very strong employment rate. Our employment rate for alumni is quite high. So generally within 3 months of graduation, our alumni are gainfully employed, and often some of the remainder of that percentage goes off to become solopreneurs and start their own entrepreneurial ventures, which is great if that's what you're into. Here are some of the companies that a lot of our alumni have ventured off to. So you can definitely see a range of industries. And let's look at some of our admissions requirements. So at UBC, we pride ourselves in being a very holistic program. meaning we assess and look at the whole picture when it comes to making admissions-related decisions. So although academic achievement is important, it isn't the whole picture. So with regards to academic achievement, we are hoping for a B+ average. The GMAT or GRE is also a means for us to assess, okay, can this individual keep up with the pace and the rigor of the program? So we have a minimum requirement that we seek, but we really encourage everyone to thrive for the competitive requirement. So for the GMAT, that's at about 650, and for the GRE, that's at about 310 or more. And although work experience is not required for this program, it is a nice to have. So if you do have work experience, your resume and the essays are a great way to showcase that and demonstrating your skills and your background. We also request a minimum of 2 professional references. And you'll see through the application online that there are some written essay questions that we will request, as well as a 90-second video. The video, don't stress too much if you don't have advanced video editing skills. That's really not what we're trying to assess and get a feel for here. The video is really our opportunity to get a feel for, what's your personality like? Let's see what your communication style is like and your interpersonal skills. This is your opportunity to show us that you're more than just an application. And for individuals who studied at a non-English speaking institution for their undergraduate degree, we do request an English proficiency test. A full list of those is available on our website. However, the 2 most popular ones that we accept are the IELTS or the TOEFL. Should you meet all these requirements and criteria, typically you would also get invited for a personal interview. Now, if you don't happen to be in Vancouver, we could do those interviews through Skype or online. But again, just emphasizing that we do look at the full picture when we're assessing candidates for the program. Looking at deadlines, fees, and scholarships, our first deadline for the AMBAN is just around the corner at October 30th. The one after that is January 15th. And the final deadline for international students is in March. And for Canadians and PRs, it's at the end of April. We encourage everyone to apply early on. And the reason being is that just gives you more access and eligibility for different scholarship opportunities. As you'll see here, we have a variety of different scholarships that are offered at the initial deadline of October 30th. So really do try to get your applications in as soon as possible to be eligible for those types of scholarships. Of course, we do have scholarships that we offer based on merit throughout the year. So your chances are definitely there as well. And you will see that about 45% of the MBAN class has been eligible for scholarships. So the chances and the odds are pretty good there. So don't shy away from applying to our external scholarships as well on our website. So in addition to our merit-based scholarships, there's also a variety of external scholarships that you can apply for on our scholarship page. So again, that broadens your chances of getting scholarships. So I really do encourage you to apply for the external scholarships on our website as well. Please start your application sooner rather than later by logging into sauder.ubc.ca. You can also get in touch with the general AMBAN line for any kind of questions, or feel free to get in touch with me directly. My contact information is on screen. I just want to say thanks again for tuning in, and I'd like to now open things up to the panel portion of this webinar. And in doing so, I'll be asking our alumni panelists to introduce themselves. Like I said, I have Divya joining us, Nabir, and Jeremy, and I'd like to get each and every one of them to introduce themselves, starting with Divya, then we'll move on to Nabir, and then Jeremy. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you, panelists, for joining us. Let's now hear from our alumni. Divya, could you please start off with an introduction on yourself? Hi, Divya.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thanks for logging on.
Yeah, sorry.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
so my name is Divya, and I'm a graduate from UBC MBAN from 2017-2018 batch. Before joining MBAN, I had a degree in electronics and communication engineering, and then I worked for 2 years in a big four company in India. And right after the program, I started working as a data scientist in KPMG.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that introduction, Divya. Now let's hear from you, Nabir.
Hi, everyone. How y'all doing? This is Nabir the one. I'm working as a senior consultant in process and analytics at a company, national consulting company here in the U.S. called Cambria Solutions. They do public sector consulting, working with government to make them more faster, cost-effective, and efficient. Before joining the MBAN, I was working at a hospital here in the U.S. called St. Dominic's. I was working in analytics and process improvement, doing Lean Six Sigma stuff. Prior to which I worked in a similar field in manufacturing in the U.S. and my bachelor's degree is in industrial and systems engineering here in Mississippi State University.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Nabir. And last but not least, Jeremy.
Hey everyone, I'm Jeremy. I am currently a business analyst at PHSA. Before MBAN, I had a background in chemical engineering. I did my undergrad in the US in New York. And I went straight to MBAN right after that. And here I am now.
Amazing. Thanks for that introduction, panelists. So let's dive right in. I'd like to start off with a kind of a general question for each of you. And I'd like to ask, how did the MMOR or the MBAN program support you in your current position? Who wanted to start with that one? Nabir, you look like you're the one that's not on mute, so I'll go with you.
All right. Well, you know, the MBAN program, I took this program after approximately 3.5 years of working in process improvement area and analytics and manufacturing and healthcare. And the primary benefit for me was I feel like it enhanced my business thinking. And primarily that was one of the reasons I wanted to do a program like this from a business school rather than say an engineering school or comp science school, because my focus was to elevate my business thinking. And that in turn helped me in thinking about product management in technology, which I did not work in before, and generally thinking about strategy around analytics and how it can be leveraged in different industries.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Nabir. How about yourself, Jeremy? How do you think the MBAN program helped support you in your current position?
Well, I believe that is probably the aspect of the MBAN program that you wouldn't think that you would have learned in the program. Because everybody thinks about the data and the coding and everything like that, but there's also things that the MBAN teaches us about, like process mapping, process fundamentals, those sorts of things, and that's what I'm currently focusing on my role right now.
Perfect. Thanks for that. And how about you, Divya? What would you say was a key way that the MBAN helped support you in your current position?
So before starting my MBAN program, I was working as a consultant, but with a background of engineering, I was more focused about technical skills and how to solve a problem from that perspective. However, I realized in 2 years that I'm able to learn technical skill set, but there is a lot of business side of things which I don't understand, and I do not have background in that. So I wanted to get some skill set around how to understand the business well, how to solve a problem from that perspective. So that was the reason I took up MBAN program, and I think it gave me a holistic understanding of where data and analytics can be used in a particular company. So be it marketing, be it supply chain, various aspects of the business, I was able to understand, and I think that translated into getting this role as a data scientist here.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. And just kind of piggybacking on that question for you, Divya, what would you say were the steps that you took to land your first career after you graduated?
Like throughout the program, there are various information sessions that happen where companies come in, and we are encouraged to go and understand what the company does and which industry they are in. So I took my time. Initially, I did not apply to a lot of jobs, but I took my time in understanding what are the different industries and companies here in Vancouver. And then once I understood where I want to land, which kind of industry, I attended information sessions, and I try to have coffee chats with people, and I try to first understand my skill set and communicate that to potential employers so that they can understand where I fit in. So just as a background, I was interviewing for some other role in KPMG, but they felt this role would be a better fit for me based on my where I want to see my career. So I think those are kind of the steps, like understanding where to be, and then understanding the industry and connecting with the right people. So yeah, I think these are the steps.
Amazing. Thanks for that, Divya. And actually on that topic again, we had a wonderful question just pop up right now directed for you from a student here. So it says, a question for Divya. Do you find the role as a data scientist very different from business analyst? Does the program help provide sufficient skills and knowledge? I guess they're referring to for a business analyst role.
Okay, so I see data scientists and business analysts like two different roles, and business analyst is more towards before we land into maybe building models or anything technical. The business analyst usually understands the problem and kind of solutions it. And it also depends. Sometimes it's business analyst does everything, but usually business analyst is someone who does the before work, like maybe requirement gathering, understanding the business, being a translator between the clients and the software developer side of things. However, data scientist is someone who's a storyteller, but also has that technical skill set to solve the problem. So in the program, we had few technical courses. I think the program gives an overall understanding of what all is the possibility, like what all is possible. But to get into a particular role, be it business analyst or data analyst or data scientist, we have to build a skill set, which like we have to strengthen particular skill sets. So for example, if someone wants to be a data analyst, we have a course on SQL, but then that person has to then go and have a deep skill set in SQL, versus if it's a data scientist, we have a course in Python. So that's not just enough, but that's a starting point. So you like that course? Okay, good. Then go do some online courses. This gives you an overall picture of what all is possible, but then you have to go and do some research by yourself.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Divya. Jeremy and Nabir, did you guys have anything you wanted to add to that question of, the role of data scientist versus business analyst?
Well, I think Divya summed it up pretty well. Me personally, as a business analyst, I don't really do any of the analytical work at the moment. It is more requirements gathering, figuring out the process, figuring out how things should work in terms of the business problem in relation to the process, in order to bring about the change that's needed or required. So yeah, I think she's spot on with it.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. And so my next question that I have is, what advice do you have for students starting the program? And in your opinion, what was the most useful class that you took? Let's direct that question towards Nabir. So I'll repeat the question. The question was, what advice do you have for students starting the program? And what was the most useful class you took?
Open-minded perspective. Receive what you will get. You'll get different aspects. Analytics as a field, as I'm looking at different industries, is very vast. It could be, adding 5 numbers in Excel could be analytics, or making a huge model deployed for predicting readmissions across a country could also, hospital readmissions across the country could also be analytics. So in that journey, in that scale of things, what I would say is you will get bits and pieces of different aspects. Our program primarily focuses on 2, that's operations and marketing. There are other aspects of analytics like financial analytics or healthcare analytics that get more specific. What you'll get in this program is a baseline and then a little bit about analytics in those 2 areas. So I would say come with an open mind, have fun, and what was your second part of the question? Sorry, Natalie?
The second part of the question was, what was the most useful class you took?
So the most useful class for me was the basics, the advanced predictive analytics class, time series, and I would say some of the courses that are on marketing analytics and CRM, because coming from an engineering background, as the 3 of us are, we did not have any background in those things. And in today's world, if you want to go up to leadership positions, you have to understand the breadth of your business. And so understanding those aspects help.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. And Jeremy, how about for you? What advice would you give to students starting the program? And in your opinion, what was the most useful class you took?
I think the advice that I give to people starting the program is to essentially be prepared to work hard, because there's a short period of time to learn a lot of new skills, but also don't be afraid to learn those new skills, be open to them, and understand that practice makes perfect in a lot of cases, because when you pick up these new skills, you may not get it right away, but the more you utilize them, you will improve on them. So just keep practicing them. And in terms of the most useful class, I'd probably say advanced predictive analytics as well, because it's kind of like the core of what you would want to do, depending on what you want to do post MBAN. There's a spectrum of careers: data scientist, data analyst, but the things like predictive analytics, it's kind of in the middle, where it gives you the skills that you can use in either of the roles that you want. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Jeremy. And just piggybacking off that question, because now that I have you on the floor here, Having come from abroad to do this program at UBC, what made you choose UBC and Vancouver to pursue an MBAN?
Well, UBC is a global institution, is well known on a very large scale. So that's one thing that drew me to UBC. And the MBAN seemed like a good program to give me business skills, but also remain in a technical frame of mind, and learn hard technical skills that I can apply to a business setting, which is exactly what I was looking for.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jeremy. And how about for yourself, Nabir? Here's someone who traveled from abroad to come to UBC and Vancouver to pursue this master's. What was it for you that drew you towards UBC and Vancouver?
So the first thing that drew me was the MBAN program for our cohort was the first cohort, and before that, this program had a 16, 17-year-old legacy with another program called the Masters of Management in Operations Research. And while I was doing my undergrad here in the States and through my work here in in healthcare and operations and manufacturing, I had heard about that program because it was a globally renowned, very reputed program. So I knew about UBC Sauder from there. And when time came for me to look for my master's program, I wanted to venture to the coast. I'd spent most of my time here in the U.S. in the Midwest or the South, and I just wanted to see the West Coast. And I thought that UBC being a globally ranked institution, being in the West Coast, and this program being a version 2 of a already reputed program that has won numerous awards in the field, I felt that would be a good choice.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Nabir. And my next question would be, what was the most beneficial thing you learned and or experienced while you were at UBC Sauder? And how do you use that in your current role? I'd like to hear from you on that one, Divya.
I think the most important thing that I learned, apart from the normal subjects that we learned anyway, is we had a coaching on, so we had some emotional intelligence tests and some feedback given based on our results. What really helped me after the program, and I think this is something different which I will not get from other programs, is understanding your strengths and weaknesses. And some of our strengths, we know our strengths, but we do not know how to use them for career advancement. So I got some feedback around how I can use my strengths to actually advance my career. And I've been using them in my career since I've joined here. And I think I got recognized for these, and I've not thought about, for example, just using empathy was one of my strengths, but I've never used that in my career, and I didn't know how to use it to advance my career. And just some feedback on it helped me a lot, and people recognize it in my workplace now. So I think that was one of my biggest takeaway apart from normal subjects.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Divya. And a question for Nabir and Jeremy, kind of piggybacking on to that topic. How have you leveraged your emotional intelligence skills, competencies to succeed in your professional journey? Let's start with Jeremy on that one.
Well, I have to work in a team environment every day, so I think EQ is a very important part of that. Especially when you think about the different tasks that so many people have. Everybody on your team has a different function. You have a different function than them. And everybody has different things they're going through, a different pressure that they feel. So being aware of yourself and being aware of others is important because it helps you put yourself in other people's shoes, basically. And it helps with the team building aspect of things. Just being aware that you have to be a team player, and sometimes it involves maybe keeping yourself in check or helping other people get through the day by assisting them if they need help.
Perfect. Thanks so much for that, Jeremy. And how about yourself, Nabir?
I have very similar thoughts with Divya on that as well. You know, there's so many components of emotional intelligence, EQ stuff that you don't know whether you have or not have, and just going through the processes of figuring that out helps. In particular, there's an area in EQ that I remember my coach talking to me about was, and that came out to be a area of improvement for me, was impulse control. And I'm usually a quick thinker on my feet, and it doesn't necessarily mean I need to say what I'm thinking all the time. And so especially I'm finding that very pertinent now that I'm in consulting and, you know, working with clients. Being able to be tactful, being able to master conversations and resist or, you know, sometimes delay an immediate response. I think knowing the fact that there is an area of improvement there, and there are certain things that you could do that makes you a good consultant or any kind of employee for that matter, it did help me, and that came about through my coaching at Sauder.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Nabir. And I'm just seeing some great questions flood in. For a number of them, I'm seeing a theme between the key difference between data science and business analytics, and how this course kind of services those two different areas. So for someone kind of wanting to understand the main difference between data science and the MBAN, what I'd say is the key differentiator here between the Master in Data Science and the MBAN is that a Master's in Data Science, first of all, is not offered through the faculty of Sauder. However, these courses are going to be a lot more technical, focused on someone who wants to have a role that's very data heavy, data focused, where you're not necessarily required to have the skills to be engaged in communicating necessarily with different stakeholders and doing that storytelling. How the MBAN differs is the MBAN is a program that's suited for people who have the business background but want the technical knowledge and know it how. So they come from an economics background or a finance or accounting background, and they want to learn those more technical skills around Python or R, for instance, and applying that to analyze data sets and helping organizations make data related decisions. And there's also the other category of people who already have those strong technical and analytical skills, but they're lacking the business knowledge and the business know-how. So what the MBAN offers is kind of a bridge between those two topics. That's probably the key differentiator between the MBAN and other masters in data science, is that the MBAN offers that bridge between data science and business, and you'll see that throughout each of the courses. So if you have a close look at our course syllabus and the program journey, you will see that even throughout a lot of the course titles, you have titles such as a topic like marketing, but how that applies to analytics. A topic like pricing, for instance, and how that works with analyzing trends. So consistently, you're seeing that intersection between those two topics. I hope that answers those few questions out there about data science versus MBAN. A specific question I have for you guys as the panelists is we have a question here about whether you felt the MBAN program provided you with enough knowledge, or did you end up taking additional courses and resources online to complement what you learned in the program? Nabir, what was your experience with that? Did you find that you got what you needed and wanted from the MBAN, or did you feel like you were taking additional complementary courses and resources online?
So that's a good question. I would start off with saying that graduate school is the idea of a professional 10-month cohort-based program is to go wide but shallow. So that is an intent of a program. Now, having said that, we, like Divya mentioned in the beginning, and I agree with her 100%, we were given enough to be dangerous with, if you know what I mean. We were given an intro and some more of the different areas of analytics, data science, or, you know, and how they can be used, how they can be applied. If someone wants to go deep into natural language processing, for example, then yes, you would have to go and learn about it. For example, I'm currently working on an AI chatbot with state of Mississippi. And yes, I'm having to learn a lot of those things. But because we had some form of machine learning, and we had a course on that business applications of machine learning, I'm aware of what to look for, what to consider, and know enough to get some of our technical guys to do that thing for the client. If I had to do the code from scratch, then yes, I would have to study more on NLP. So I would say for your level of interest in a particular dimension of analytics, if you would like to go deep into that, yes, you would need more study. But if you wanted an intro and an understanding of what's out there and know what to look for and what to study, which is most graduate schools, unless it is very specific and it's an academic master's, then with a thesis at the end, then no.
Thank you for that, Nabir. Divya, curious to see if you're wanting to share your experience with that as well.
Yeah, sure. So just in terms of this field, analytics in general, is a field which is constantly changing, and we would always have to be learning in this field. That's something that I've experienced. This course gives us, the possibility of like what all is possible with analytics, and to take better decisions using data, kind of a thing. So if you are a person who's in maybe from a management side of things, but you were taking decisions based on just just by looking at few samples of data, but not having strategic decisions based on how the data is from past few years. So this program gives you how to solve problems in a business, how to solve problems using analytics in business. But definitely, if you are in this field, data science, in general, any program you take, you have to be taking some courses to, be in the market, to have those skills that are current. And like I mentioned, we have to, if you want to get into one specific field, like Nabir mentioned, NLP, for example, you definitely have to take some courses online. And believe me, in my team, all of us, we are constantly taking some or the other courses, because this field is constantly changing. So yeah.
Thanks for that, Divya. And how about yourself, Jeremy? How did you find that experience of taking complementary courses in addition to what you pursued in the MBAN program?
Well, I think if you want to keep yourself competitive in the job market, like Nabir and Divya both mentioned, I think that MBAN gives you a run through of essentially all the skills that you need, all of the technical skills that you need. So you may do some Python, you may do some SQL, you do a lot of R, but you probably want to go beyond the introductions and dive a little bit deeper into it. So I find that doing things like using DataCamp or HackerRank or something like that to improve your skills for the job market, for your career post MBAN, is important, because you want to stay sharp and you want to be able to be competitive in terms of the employment market.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Jeremy. And thank you to all of you panelists who have joined us today. I know a lot of you have taken your lunch breaks to be here with us today, so we really appreciate that and your insights. So without further ado, I'd like to thank everyone who logged on today and who joined us for this webinar. I'm leaving my information on screen here in case anyone has any additional questions. You can email the general MBAN line, or you can get in touch with myself directly as the program manager for the Masters of Business Analytics. Thanks again for your time, everybody. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you around next time. Thank you. Take care and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.